Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be doing some soft-spoken lo-fi reading. I think I'm going to start doing this every weekend, so hopefully on Saturdays, but maybe on Sundays. So we're going to start doing soft-spoken Saturdays/Sundays. My goal for this is A, to read more, since that's what I will be doing, and then B, to give myself somewhat of a consistent upload schedule per week. Right now, I'm just gonna upload randomly, upload whatever I want. I try to keep it somewhat consistent-ish. I try to do like at least one or two a week, but this will force me to do a little bit better. Let me know how you guys feel about the soft-spoken lo-fi type of thing. Yep. We're gonna start off with Dan Brown's Inferno. I've never read this book, but I had a friend buy it for me. I highly recommended it, so we're gonna see how it sounds, see how it is, I guess. The plan is to do about one or two chapters a week for the sake of time, and just, get the most out of this as I can. But maybe we'll do more depending on how short the chapters are. If you enjoy my content, let me know. I appreciate the support. And yeah, let's get started. I hope that you guys can just sit back, relax, you can close your eyes. You're not gonna pay attention to this. Just listen to me read. Alright, we're gonna start here. I am the shade. Through the Dolan city I flee. Through the eternal woe I take flight. Along the banks of the river Arno I scramble, breathless, turning left onto Via Castellani, making my way northward, huddling in the shadows of Uffizi. And they still pursue me. Their footsteps grow louder now as they hunt with relentless determination. Whoa, that was going loud. For years they have pursued me. Their persistence has kept me underground, forced me to live in purgatory, laboring beneath the earth like a chthonic monster. I am the shade. Here, above ground, I raise my eyes to the north, but I am unable to find a direct path to salvation. From the Apennine Mountains are blotting out the first light of dawn. I pass behind the palazzo with its crenellated tower and one-handed clock, sneaking through the early morning vendors in Piazza di San Fiorzen, with their hoarse voices smelling of lampredotto and roasted olives. Crossing before the Bargello, I cut west toward the spire of Badia and come up hard against the iron gate at the base of the stairs. Here, all hesitation must be left behind. I turn the handle and step into the passage from which I know there will be no return. I urge my leaden legs up the narrow staircase, spiraling skyward on soft marble treads, pitted and worn. The voices echo from below, beseeching. They are behind me, unyielding, closing in. They do not understand what is coming, nor what I have done for them. Ungrateful land. As I climb, the visions come hard, the lustful bodies writhing in fiery rain. The glutton and his soul's floating in excrement, the treacherous villains frozen in Satan's icy grasp. I climb the final stairs and arrive at the top, staggering near dead into the damp morning air. I rush into the head-high wall, peering through the slits. Far below is the bliss city that I have made my sanctuary from those who exiled me. The voices call out, arriving close behind me. What you've done is madness. Madness breeds madness. For the love of God, they shout, tell us where you've hidden it. For precisely the love of God, I will not. I stand now, cornered, my back to the cold stone. They stare deep into my clear green eyes, and their expressions darken, no longer cajoling, but threatening. You know we have our methods. We can force you to tell us where it is. For that reason, I have climbed halfway to heaven. Without warning, I turn and reach up, curling my fingers onto the high ledge, pulling myself up, scrambling on my knees and unstanding at the precipice. Guide me, dear Virgil, across the void. They rush forward in disbelief, wanting to grab my feet, but fearing they will upset my balance and knock me off. They beg now, in quiet desperation, but I have turned my back. I know what I must do. Beneath me, dizzyingly, far beneath me, the red tile roofs spread out like a sea of fire on the countryside, illuminating the fair land upon which giants once roamed. Giotto, Donatello, Brunelleschi. I said that way wrong. I apologize if I pronounce any of these words wrong and butcher the absolute crap out of them. I wasn't the greatest in grammar or spelling. My bad. Brunelleschi. That's still Brunelleschi is what I'm gonna go with. Michelangelo, Botticelli. I hinge my toes toward the edge. Come down, they shout. It's not too late. Oh, willful ignorance. Do you not see the future? Do you not grasp the splendor of my creation? The necessity. I will gladly make this ultimate sacrifice. And with it, I will extinguish your final hope of finding what you seek. You will never locate it in time. Hundreds of feet below, the cobblestone piazza beckons like a tranquil oasis. How I long for more time, but time is the one commodity even my vast fortunes cannot afford. In these final seconds, I gaze down at the piazza, and I behold a sight that startles me. I see your face. You are gazing up at me from the shadows. Your eyes are mournful, and yet in them I sense a veneration for what I have accomplished. You understand I have no choice. For the love of mankind, I must protect my masterpiece. It grows even now, waiting, simmering beneath the blood-red waters of the lagoon that reflects no stars. And so, I lift my eyes from yours, and I contemplate the horizon. High above this burdened world, I take my final application. I butchered that. High above this burdened world, I make my final supplication. Dearest God, I pray the world remembers my name, not as a monstrous sinner, but as the glorious Savior you know I truly am. I pray mankind will understand the gift I leave behind. My gift is the future. My gift is salvation. My gift is Inferno. With that, I whisper my amen and take my final step into the abyss. That was the prologue. Chapter 1. The memories materialize slowly, like bubbles surfacing from the darkness of a bottomless well. A veiled woman. Robert Langdon gazed at her across a river whose churning waters ran red with blood. On the far bank, the woman stood facing him, motionless, solemn, her face hidden by a shroud. In her hand she gripped a blue denia cloth, which she now raised in honor of the sea of corpses at her feet. The smell of death hang everywhere. Seek, the woman whispered, and ye shall find. Langdon heard the words as if she'd spoken them inside his head. Who are you? He called out, but his voice made no sound. Time grows short, she whispered. Seek and find. Langdon took a step towards the river, but he could see the waters were blood red and too deep to traverse. When Langdon raised his eyes again to the veiled woman, the bodies at her feet had multiplied. There were hundreds of them now, maybe thousands, some still alive, writhing in agony, dying unsinkable deaths, consumed by fire, buried in feces, devouring one another. He could hear the mournful cries of human suffering echoing across the water. The woman moved toward him, holding out her slender hands as if beckoning for help. Who are you? Langdon shouted again. In response, the woman reached up and slowly lifted the veil from her face. She was strikingly beautiful, and yet older than Langdon had imagined, in her 60s perhaps, stately and strong, like a timeless statue. She had a sternly set jaw, deep, soulful eyes, and long, silver-gray hair that cascaded over her shoulders in ringlets. An amulet of lapis lazuli hung around her neck, a single snake coiled around a staff. Langdon sensed he knew her, trusted her, but how? Why? She pointed now to a writhing pair of legs which protruded upside down from the earth. Apparently it belonged to some poor soul who had been buried head first to his waist. The man's pale thigh bore a single letter written in mud. R. R. Langdon thought, uncertain, as in, Robert? Is that me? The woman's face revealed nothing. Seek and find, she repeated. Without warning, she began radiating a white light, brighter and brighter. Her entire body started vibrating intensely. And then, in a rush of thunder, she exploded into 1,000 splintering shards of light. Langdon bolted awake, shouting. The room was bright. He was alone. The sharp smell of medicinal alcohol hung in the air, and somewhere a machine pinged in quiet rhythm with his heart. Langdon tried to move his right arm, but a sharp pain restrained him. He looked down and saw an IV tugging at the skin of his forearm. Excuse me. This kind of is low-key torturous on my throat. It's very interesting. I should have grabbed water, is what I should have done. His pulse quickened, and the machines kept pace, pinging more rapidly. Where am I? What happened? My bad. The back of Langdon's head throbbed, a gnawing pain. Gingerly, he reached up with his free arm and touched his scalp, trying to locate the source of his headache. And I'm trying to locate the source of my sore throat. Oh my god, why does it feel like that? It itches so bad. I don't know what's going on, guys. I think we're just gonna whisper from here on out. Trying to locate the source of his headache. Beneath his matted hair, he found the hard nubs of a dozen or so stitches caked with dry blood. He closed his eyes, trying to remember an accident.
himself, but for everyone. The beating of his heart monitor accelerated rapidly, his muscles tightened, and he tried to sit up. Dr. Brooks quickly placed a firm hand on Langdon's sternum, forcing him back down. She shot a glance at the bearded doctor, who walked over to a nearby counter and began preparing something. Dr. Brooks hovered over Langdon, whispering down, "Mr. Langdon, anxiety is common with brain injuries, but you need to keep your pulse rate down. No movement, no excitement. Just lie still and rest. You'll be okay. Your memory will come back slowly." The doctor returned now with a syringe, which he handed to Dr. Brooks. She injected its contents into Langdon's IV. "Just a mild sedative to calm you down," she explained, "and also to help with the pain." She stood to go. "You'll be fine, Mr. Langdon. Just sleep. If you need anything, press the button on your bedside." She turned out the light and departed with the bearded doctor. In the darkness, Langdon felt the drugs washing through his stream. Almost instantly, dragging his body back down into the deep well from which he had emerged. He fought that feeling, forcing his eyes open in the darkness of his room. He tried to sit up, but his body felt like cement. As Langdon shifted, he found himself again facing the window. The lights were out, and in the dark glass, his own reflection had disappeared, replaced by an illuminated skyline in the distance. Amid a contour of spires and domes, a single regal facade dominated Langdon's field of view. The building was an imposing stone fortress, with a notched parapet and 300-foot tower that swelled near the top, bulging outward into a massive... Guys, this word is a doozy. Matriculated battlement. I still think I said that wrong. Langdon sat, bolt upright in his bed, pain exploding in his head. He fought off the searing throb and fixed his gaze on the tower. Langdon knew the medieval structure well. It was unique in the world. Unfortunately, it was also located 4,000 miles from Massachusetts. Outside its window, hidden in the shadows of the Via Torricelli, a powerfully built woman effortlessly unstraddled her BMW motorcycle and advanced with the intensity of a panther stalking its prey. Her gaze was sharp. Her close-cropped hair, styled into spikes, stood out against the upturned collar of her black leather riding suit. She checked her silenced weapon and stared up at the window, where Robert Langdon's light had just gone out. Earlier tonight, her original mission had gone horribly awry. The coup of a single dove had changed everything. Now she had come to make it right. Alrighty, guys. This was the first. Hold on, let me get some sticky note action. As we all know how much I love sticky notes. We're gonna put that in there. That is the first edition of soft-spoken Saturdays, Sundays, whatever. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought. I apologize that the soft-spokenness ended about halfway in. Next time I'll be more prepared with some water and tea. Yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what else you want to see.